Trying to look at my brushes. See what we got here. Oh. Okay, how about this one? This one will do, I think. Maybe. Now, let's just dig right in and try. There's other things you can do by mixing this with some matte medium to create more of like an adhesive paste. But let's just try and dab this on dry, and then what I'll do is I'll have to do this when the weather is better. I'll have to put some fixative on it and kind of let that dry, and then add more weathering powder, and then let that dry, so on and so forth. So let's try. Now this, let's see, is this a lot? Is this a little? I don't know. Let's just see. And it's kind of like smudging. And I think if I were to add some kind of medium to it, it would basically act more as a paste. But for now, we can kind of just dab it on. And you want to build this up in layers. I don't think you kind of... I'm not really expecting to get like a perfect result right at the start. You want to build up the layers to this, because if you go in heavy, I think it's going to end up looking too much all at the same time. But yeah, you can... I'm liking it so far, how it looks. And I haven't actually finished doing the chipping on all the parts of this model. I just wanted to test this out. And I'm trying to think about it realistically too, like where it's all going to kind of clump up, like at the bottom of the foot of the mech, right? Sort of applying it. See, that's a lot. And then you're just gonna hit it with some... I've actually seen people hit it with spray paint. Hairspray. I've seen that too. Because now, like, once you put this stuff on, you kind of don't want to touch those parts, because it's kind of like it's just powder, right? So it's gonna kind of smudge off. So that's why you want to hit it with some top coat, or like I said, I've seen people use hairspray too. That looks really neat though so far. It's pretty cool. Bacon, I just realized the Megami device I want is even cheaper at Trinity. Yeah, I've noticed that too. When we knew that we were going to be going into town, coming back to Toronto for the night, and then we were going to hang out and go to Panda, I looked up what they had in stock, and I saw my Sosai Shoujo Tengen model, and it was more. Like, I don't know how much more, but it was more, noticeably more. And it's like, you know, it's their choice to price these things. But I'm glad that Trinity is my main store. I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, you can just order from them, so it's fine. What I think I'll do is experiment with adding some medium. Let's try that too. It's an experimentation day today. So far that looks pretty good though, on the feet. And it's just that contrast of like that light turquoise and then the orangey brownish red. It just looks really nice, really cool. Let's get some more lighter tone. Let's just kind of lightly apply it to more parts. I don't want to heavily apply it. I feel like I've kind of already started to apply it more heavily, which you don't want to do. You want to kind of do it more lightly in phases, because it's just is so easy to do that you kind of get more gung-ho about it. And then you've got to get some stuff like within the inner workings of the gears and the joints. That's where a lot of corrosion and rust is going to build up. So that's where I'm applying it. By the way, guys, I also saw this video. I'm gonna do another science experiment sometime soon, where you can create your own rust powder using actual metal. I watched a video about that, where effectively you are literally creating rust. And it seemed really easy to do. So yeah, I want to try that. And the results look really good. So stay tuned for more science experiments with your old pal Epo Dempsey Roll. More science. Bacon Panda costs about $10 to $15 more, but I have to pay $15 for shipping if I buy from Trinity. Oh, well, here's how you get around that, Bacon. Just buy more to the point where you got free shipping. Just get yourself some free shipping. I think it's like $300. Just buy $300 worth of stuff. That's easy enough for you, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, like, for us, we can just go there. $300, easy, no problem. Let's not pretend that it's that you'll be struggling to find $300 worth of stuff. Well, you can also do you can also pre-order something too, right? Like I said, they had that what was it, the racer model? You can pre-order that, and then any other things that you want to pre-order. And then they have that what do they call it? Private warehouse or something. So you can queue up multiple things. I don't know how it works personally. Oh, see, that's why they have the private warehouse though, because you basically, I do know that it's like within a certain range of months, say like 4-month range, you can queue up several pre-orders, right? And then they'll all ship to you once the final thing is out, right? So it's like, okay, I want something in February, and I want 2 things in February, and then there's one other thing coming in March. You get all those pre-orders, and then they'll ship it all to you in March. That way you save on shipping. I think that's how it works. Yeah, damn, this is really cool. I'm actually really liking the result on this. I just have to be really careful not to smudge anything. But yeah, this is... Sorry guys if this isn't really coming through. But it's looking really nice. Nice and dusty. Okay, how about we try some of the other rust colors? And I'm not really sure how... I should really pull up my reference, because this was going to be like sort of the rusty base tone, the dusty and rusty base color. But I've got like this bright red one and like a yellowish one. And I'm not entirely sure where that would go. I'm assuming that the rust... Shit, let me look at my reference. I have a bunch of reference pictures for rust of like old farm equipment, and I need to kind of look more carefully where it would go, where the rust would go. And actually we can kind of maybe we'll experiment and add some matte medium to this and see what happens then. Let's try that. I think I need some more matte medium too, by the way. I don't know if you're still here, Goro, but I showed off something that I bought yesterday. I'll show you again. Look at that. Optimus Prime. Look at that. That is so cool. Optimus Prime. Miniature. In miniature form. Pre-primed. Ironic that he's pre-primed. But yeah, that's cool. And I think that they're going to be making more models from that range, and I'll definitely look into picking up some of them because that's pretty cool. All right, let me look at my reference. Sorry guys, give me a quick second while I look up some reference. I have a folder on my iPad here, and I just want to see where the different tones of rust go. It looks like the darker colors of rust are kind of pool up at the point of the rust point, and then the lighter colors spread out from from that point. So yeah, in other words, the point of rusting, it's the darkest part, and then as it spreads out, and I guess you want to kind of direct it in the right way. As it spreads out, it gets lighter to a lighter orange. So we can do that. I think we can do that. Just looking at some more reference while I'm here. Okay. Let's give that a shot. And for that, we don't really need this matte medium. Let's try this. Should I get a smaller brush maybe? Let's try a smaller brush. And we can try and maybe wet it a bit. Let's just put some out of here. Yeah, I've never tried this before, but it's pretty fun. The main thing I'm worried about is fixing it, like using the matte clear coat or hairspray or whatever, and hopefully that'll really lock in the paint job that I've done so far, the weathering job. And by the way, this is all sort of practice that's building up to other projects. I've kind of queued up my entire schedule of projects to kind of build on one another. So this is this project here, I was kind of intending it to be a very heavy duty, worn out and weathered machine. And I was always intending to use weathering and make this weathering powder and stuff. But I also have the RX-78 entry grade, and I'm also going to be doing some weathering on that. And I'm going to try to refine these techniques and maybe learn a few other ones using some other different kinds of techniques, and kind of make it a little more, not as heavy, but kind of like more selective about the weathering. And then ultimately, I have the Sosai Shoujo Teien model, who's not a robot, she's a human, but my plan is to practice all of this stuff with weathering, because I have the weathering powder, and that's going to really kind of help. All this stuff will help me kind of refine how I'm doing this when I finally get around to that model, maybe, hopefully. So I've actually mixed a little bit of water with this, and this is the lighter stuff, so we're gonna we can kind of almost paint it a bit more. And I'm dragging it down. And I'll probably have to go in more with the brown and the weathering. But yeah, I wet it a little bit, and it kind of becomes like a half paint, half powdery solution. And it's very faint, but you wanna just carefully apply it just a little bit. And I think it's looking pretty good, kinda, sorta. Cool. Pretty neat, actually. And again, I don't really want to go. I said earlier that this was the model that is supposed to be very heavily weathered, but at the same time, I don't want to go too crazy like right off the bat. I kind of want to slowly build up the layers of weathering, so that like you have more control. Because if you just go in and apply it really heavily, it's going to be kind of hard to go back. I'm guessing that it is possible. It's just not. It's not that. It'll be easier if you're just taking your time, I think. I don't know. As I said, I'm doing this all for the first time. So, what do I know? What do I know? And I can see that it's a little wet, and it's almost more paint-like because I added a bit more water. I've seen people use methylated spirits as well as just alcohol cleaning solution to also act as a application medium for this. I've seen that. So those are options. I'm just using water. And I think that we want these joints, right? Like the inner parts where there's joints to kind of have extra corrosion. These are the things you kind of have to kind of talk to yourself about and sort of figure out as you're doing it. And you want to do it in a way that sort of makes sense as you're applying it. Sort of like telling yourself the story of how this thing got weathered, right? Because if you're thinking about that, then it's going to look more realistic rather than just going like pow, pow, pow. Like, you know, just slapping it on everywhere. You kind of need to think about, like I said, like, okay, this is going to be more corroded around the edges, so on and so forth, right? And that's also why I was checking reference. Kind of want to always check with your reference to see how it looks realistic. How does it look when you're realistically, when this corrosion and stuff is happening in nature? That's looking pretty cool, guys. Yeah, it's looking pretty neat. Pretty happy. And I'll be taking some pictures, as I said, so we can get a better look at it, and that'll go up on my Instagram, which is Ray O Hobby. And man, I could just keep on going with this, but I'll probably stop soon just so we can kind of end. I'm sort of drifting in my focus here. Here's the decals, and we're going to be applying this weathering on top of the decal. But I also want to scratch the decal up here. This is the last thing I'll do. I'm gonna scratch the decal, and I'm not going to actually go in with a knife. I'm going to just take some of that base paint, which is this Game Color Vallejo Game Color Verdigris, and we're gonna apply that to the decal in like scratching motions, and that'll kind of emulate like that it's gotten nicked and scratched over the years. That's how we'll finish off today, I think. So let me just shake this baby up. It's been probably shooketh. Just wanted to do a little bit of everything today, and I'll probably continue weathering off stream and possibly in the next session. And then we'll have the primary paint job of this model done very soon. Within the next week, I'll say that we'll finish the paint job on this. And then once we're done that, we can kind of move on to some other stuff, but also make some preparations for the diorama for this model. I've already kind of made some plans, and I've assembled all the things that I'll need for the diorama. But yeah, but we'll also work on some other stuff. So yeah, here's the decal. It's the 5 Roman numeral, And I'm kind of just dabbing paint along the edges of it to kind of make it look like it's gotten scratched over the years, right? But I don't want to go too heavy. Like, that could be just enough right there, right? Sort of breaking up the very firm lines, solid lines. Maybe we can even do a slash if you're feeling confident. As Bob Ross would say, time for a bravery test. Time for a bravery test. Just like that. Just like that. And then everyone in chat is like, ruined. Alright. Let's do another one of these. Another slash. And because this is the base color, it's kind of like the underpainting underneath the decal is getting scratched, right? It's getting exposed. That's basically the intent of what I'm doing here. And you can actually use a sponge too. You can use a sponge to kind of do the same thing. But I'm just kind of wondering if that's okay, let's use a sponge. Let's be brave. Let's paint bravely. That's a phrase that someone has said at some point in time. I feel like I've heard that before. Paint bravely. Where my sponge at? Here we go. Bacon, shit, I'm one click away from ordering 2 kits from Trinity. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Which ones? Would that bring you up to 3 hundo? That's the free shipping thing, right? Okay, let's get this V over here. Yeah, it looks worn out. It looks a little more worn out. And I think I should draw a little line to cut into it. And it's done. Uh-oh, which ones? Which ones? Just 2 kits? Are those pre-orders or are they like currently available? What'd you get? What'd you get? Are you gonna say? Or is it top secret? I want to know. Alright. So it is a little glossy, but that gloss is going to come down once I apply a lot of the powder and then the solution, the top coat. Bullet Knight and the Executioner. The Executioner is really cool too. Doesn't she have a scythe or some kind? Yeah, the Executioner is really nice. So there's like factions in Megami Device, am I correct? The Bullet Knights, that's one faction, and their style is kind of like cleric type kind, like holy knights or something. And then the Azra line are kind of like Japanese ninja, right? And yeah, I don't know about the other factions. But yeah, I know that there's like kind of something like that going on. Oh, they're not actually out yet, so they're coming out in December. Okay, wow. So you're committed. That's cool though. Got those looking forward to. Yeah, the store owner for Trinity came into my chat one time actually. Really helpful, nice guy, and anytime I've been there, I've only been there like twice or something. Yeah, he's very helpful, very informative. That's the thing that we were kind of like really impressed with me and Night Trap when we went there the one time, was just how informative he was about everything. Like he really knew his stuff, which is, that's not always the case, right? With hobbies and hobby stores. Just because they work there doesn't mean that they know anything about the stuff that they're selling. So yeah, really, really good store. I like them. If I'm not mistaken, at one point they got robbed, which was really shitty. And they're a fairly new store. It's kind of shitty, man, that happened. All right, I'm not gonna do too much weathering to that one because it's so small that I feel like I might mess it up. All right, let's do a little cleanup real quick. Let's do a little cleanup. Yeah, as I said, every time I do a painting stream, my entire setup gets all messy all around me. Today in particular, because I've tried to use the Conte and the weathering powder and all sorts of stuff. Lots of stuff got a little messy here, but that's okay. Nothing a little cleanup job won't fix. You know, this is the gun that the model comes with, by the way. The handle here is just a very simple round peg that looks like straight out of Lego. And it's so, like, it fits in the hand perfectly, but I'm tempted to kind of resculpt this and reshape this to look more like a normal gun handle, like, you know, more squared off rather than a Lego peg. And I scraped off the paint, by the way, because it wasn't gonna fit nicely into his hand with the paint on there. So yeah, this guy's coming along pretty nicely, I gotta say. I'm pretty happy with it. It's small. Bacon, I just realized this happened because you were looking for X22 clear gloss, and Panda didn't have it, so you had to go to Trinity. And then you're like, ooh, let's see what they have. Let's see what models they have. Uh-oh, am I to blame now? Am I to blame? Am I an enabler? Uh-oh, that's not good. Oh, Panda didn't have it in stock. Uh-oh. Yeah, actually, when it comes to paints, I've noticed that Trinity is really on top of that. They've got a lot of different paints, which is pretty cool. Yeah, they've got a lot of stuff there at Trinity. I feel like, though, when it comes to tools, Panda's got more tools. Like, I noticed that Panda had like the motorized buffer thingamajig. Yeah, and I don't think I saw that at Trinity. I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Maybe I didn't look close enough. But I feel like they have their own specialties. Like, I'm not gonna say that one store is better than the other. I've only been to Panda one time. But you know, they were good. They had a lot of Gundam. Like, yeah, hands down, I feel like they had a lot more Gundam. But yeah, in the waifu category, I think Trinity's got them beat. They've got a lot of different stuff, like beyond the Kotobukiya Megami device / Frame Arm Girls and the 30-Minute Sisters. There's also like the other companies that are making Mecha Musume stuff, like Max Factory and whatever, I don't know. Just the ones that make the Macross ones and some other stuff too. Oh, and the ATK girls. Some of that Chinese stuff. Oh, and also the extra parts. Need I say more? The extra parts and additional upgrades, so to speak. Yeah, I don't know if Panda has those. So Trinity, and that's sort of my current interest. Even though I don't actually have one of those models, strictly speaking. Like, I only have the Shosai Shoujo Teien model, and you know, that's not necessarily a Mecha Musume model, not by the standard definition, that is. Not that this whole thing has been codified. But yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been looking at a lot of that stuff lately, and I'm interested in getting something from that range. Just not entirely sure what, but yeah. They've got a lot of stuff that interests me. Panda did have that superhero stuff, like the Marvel superhero ones. I haven't really watched any reviews of them, but they're pretty neat too. like Spider-Man, Iron Spider, and all of that. Those look pretty nice. But there we are, guys. So we started to do the weathering, and that's again something that I'll do more of. It's kind of made a bit of a mess, but I'll probably leave this as is. I won't entirely clean up my setup because I need to do the rest of the model. I need to finish up weathering the rest, and then we'll be mostly done this model, and then we can think about... There's other parts to this model that I need to work on. I can show you that real quick. Where is it? There's the pilot. Where is it? No. There. Yeah, there's the pilot. But I'm actually thinking about using the female pilot and customizing her in some way, which will mean I'll have to, yeah, reposition the parts. And I did buy putty, sculpting putty to do that, because I don't actually want her inside the mech. I want her outside the mech. So I have to think about that. That's all something that we can do another day. I don't mind taking all this time to work on this model. It's fun, you know. It's a fairly simplistic model, but again, it's just one of those things where the more time you put into it, the better it'll look. And that's kind of what I've been doing lately, is just buying smaller models to kind of practice various painting techniques. It's not that I'm super in love with the model itself. It's more of like something that I can practice on. Although that being said, I'm not buying models that I'm not interested in, right? They're all sort of serving some other learning purpose rather than like just getting a model for the aesthetics in and of itself. And here we'll end on this note. This model here, this Optimus Prime, I'm thinking about trying an animated style. I'm sure that many of you have seen something like that before, where it's like a Gundam model, but it actually looks like you're just looking at an illustration because it's painted in such a way where it looks like the illustration art, whether it be like a comic art style or an anime style. So that's something I'm kind of thinking about trying with this Optimus Prime. But yeah, again, that's just something where I want to just try some techniques. This one, obviously, I'm trying weathering and all of that stuff. And maybe for this, we'll try some weathering. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for me, guys. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. Thanks to the regular suspects that always show up. You guys know I appreciate that. Bacon, Night Trap, Goro, all the guys. Mojo was in here. So yeah, thanks again for coming by, and I'll catch you next time. GG.